Show and Tell Boston After Dark. I'm here with my co-host
Cordelia Moy, who's that girl from Roxbury?
and our special guest.
Hi, Yelena. Hola, mi gente.
So, for people who don't know you, can you give us a brief rundown of who you are?
Yes, so again, my name is Yelena. I am a Latin R&B soul artist based in Boston. I did grow up in Southwest Florida, for those who didn't know. And I've been doing music for about 3 years now, but singing since the age of 7. And I am Cuban Dominican
All right.
as well. So,
So you
Yeah.
started going at it hard. You said 3 years, like 2019.
yeah,
But you've been singing for how long?
since I was 7.
Since you were 7.
Yeah.
So now, what got you started in music? Like, what inspired you at 7 years old to want to start singing?
Honestly, so the inspiration came from my dad. My dad one day, well, okay, so I'm gonna explain. So I say my dad because one day my dad came home and he brought this movie and the movie was Selena.
Selena.
I
Classic.
obviously had no clue who she was when I
Uh-huh.
first saw the cover of it. And my dad would always bring me movies from home, especially when he would go to Walmart. And so I was like, okay, let me watch this. Like, this looks interesting. And the girl on it looks pretty. So I watched it. And as I was watching the movie, I loved and felt so inspired by everything she was doing, from the way she dressed,
Yeah.
from the way she would sing, the way she treated people. Like, it just really inspired me. And after that, that's when I started getting into like music. I started to sing. I started listening to other artists that I also felt inspired by, like Jennifer Lopez, Shakira, Beyonce, so many others. And from there, I just, continued going after it. But I did have stage fright when I was very young.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I conquered it, as they say, when I was like 15. And at the age of 15 is when I realized, like, yeah, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Did
So
your
now
voice
how-
crack on stage? Is that what happened?
I froze.
Ah.
So now, how did you overcome your fear? Because I used to have a fear of crossing bridges, and I overcame that
Oh,
slightly. But I want to
wow.
know, how did you overcome your fear? Like, how did you overcome your stage fright?
So what happened was, like I said, I was 15. It was freshman year of high school. And I was in a choir, like choir class. It was kind of like a requirement for everyone. But of course, that was one of my favorite classes.
Nice.
And my choir teacher, he, every single year, once a year, he would do this thing called cabaret, which is where he would have us students like sing within a group as a choir, but also we could sign up to do our own thing, like individually. And one day I looked at the sign up sheet to like perform, and I was like, you know what, let's do it. And once I like wrote my name on it, I remember thinking, like, after I was done writing it, I remember I left the classroom, and I was like, what the fuck did we just do? Like, not knowing that like how it was gonna turn out, and knowing the fact that I haven't sang in front of people since like I was young, and the last time I sang was that went horrible, So, but from there, I sang that, the night of the cabaret. Everyone loved my performance. I sang, what was it, Set Fire to the Rain by Adele. And yeah, that night I just felt like, yeah, this is truly what we were meant to do. And I felt very proud of myself.
Yeah,
So
as
no
you
more
should.
freezing?
No.
Once you, because it's crazy. Like, once you sing, and once you like get that first, I don't know how to say it. Like, because I sing too. So, but
didn't know
no,
that.
no, I do sing actually.
I had no
But
idea.
what happens is, like, the song that would help me get rid of my nerves when I first started like singing and writing music, I would sing Harlem Blues, because it's a very difficult song to sing. It seems
okay.
very simple, but it's very intricate, right? So I would sing Harlem Blues whenever I had to like sing in front of people, or just to like, if I'm hosting something, I would sing Harlem Blues to get my nerves out of my way. And as soon as I sung Harlem Blues, I would just keep singing. Like, now I won't shut up. But anyways, that was the thing that like got rid of my nerves. Yeah.
That's interesting.
To sing in
Okay.
front of people. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the way I got rid of it, it sounds very simple, but stage fright is real.
Yeah, it's real.
Like,
Yeah.
every time someone, like, as I was getting older and like still like doing music, still singing to, like practicing at home or whatever, I had people all the time like, oh, like, why don't you sing? Why don't you perform? And I was like, no, don't ask me that. Like, I had a huge fear, up until the age of 15. So,
Well, I'm glad you got rid of your fear.
yeah.
Well, starting in 2019, right after that was COVID 2020. Were you performing in 2019?
So no, but around that time is when I graduated college, and when I was in college, I was actually performing a lot. I would just perform cover songs. Like whenever I got the opportunity to sing, I would just perform cover songs. And so when I started actually like my music career, we'll say, obviously the pandemic happened, like you said, and at that point I wasn't performing, but I was, I released my first single, which was titled On My Own back in 2020. And then when everything opened up, that's when I started performing again. We'll say, but before that, I was, I had experience performing in various, places and etc.
What school did you go to?
Emmanuel College in Boston. Yeah.
Okay. Shout out to Emmanuel.
Yeah, it's okay.
So now we listened to some of your music. You released like Roomba, and we noticed like you're very versatile, being bilingual. So can you tell us a little bit about how being Latina helps you with your process, and also being obviously Latin. I would say Latina American.
Is it Latinx or is it?
Latinx? Yeah, help me, girl. Help me, girl.
I mean,
what's the right answer?
Honestly, I say Latina.
Okay.
Yeah.
People say Latinx.
Yeah.
Either or. It depends how you want to use it. When I say Latinx, I'm talking about a whole community.
Okay.
But when I'm talking about myself, I just say I'm Latina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a divide in that? Do some people we go by Latinx, some people say Latino?
Honestly, I don't know. Even other Latinos that I know, we don't.
You don't even know the answer.
we don't really sit down and we're
don't have
like,
the
what are we gonna say? Are we gonna say Latinx?
Like, what are we? What are we?
Like, well, how are we gonna respond?
What are
Because
we?
people are talking about you can't make the whole
There's these titles, people gotta stop with them. No offense.
But they
I
were saying that
can't.
you can't make the whole language gender neutral. You can't say niña, niño, but you're like, nah, it's niñex. I don't know.
I'm done.
Yeah, no.
I'm done.
That's just.
You can tell he don't speak Spanish a lot.
Entiendo lo que dices.
Anyways, he's
That's all I
crazy.
can say,
Okay.
As long as you're not saying siéntate allí,
Right.
I'm fine with that.
Sit
I
your
won't
ass
judge
down.
you.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so back to the Roomba.
Yeah, so.
Is it Roomba?
Rumba, yes,
Right.
Rumba.
That's Spanish.
Oh.
There we go.
It's okay.
Roomba.
It happens. She got it. But yeah, so back to what you were saying. I'm sorry, honey. Can you repeat that one more
Este
time?
loca. Roomba.
Look X.
Roomba, and how does being Latina and
Yes.
the whole bilingual, how do you merge the music?
So, how do I merge the music?
Yeah.
Or I would say, why do I merge it?
Yes.
I pretty much merge it because at the end of the day, I'm Latina.
Right.
And I want people to be aware of that. And clearly people are aware of that because obviously when people look at me, they're not going to think, is she white or something? They know I'm of, of certain race, ethnicity, or
Right.
whatever. And I'm very proud of the background or where I come from. I'm very proud of being Cuban Dominican. And when it comes to music, I want to showcase that.
Yeah.
I want to showcase the fact that I'm Latina, the fact that, I speak Spanish, where I come from, etc. And honestly, when I sing in Spanish, I feel like it sounds 10 times better than singing English. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And when it comes to writing it, it can be a little bit harder compared to writing in English. But at the same time, I feel like it helps me express myself more. And that's how I kind of started intertwining, both English and Spanish. And there's people that don't speak Spanish that love when I sing, Spanish,
Yeah.
which is great, which is interesting. But that goes to show you that music, no matter what language it's in, it can, people will understand it because it's a whole nother language. Even people don't understand what exactly they're saying, they can feel it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
music is all about emotion. And
right.
when it comes to my music, I want people to feel what I'm singing,
And that's pretty similar to Selena.
Yeah.
Because she was, I think, in her story, first she didn't even know what she was saying. And
Yeah,
then
she didn't know how to speak Spanish. Yeah.
And I listened to your last interview, and I think, who was that with? It was on Spotify.
Yes, inside the maze. Spotify you're talking about.
Yeah.
That is with Proven Knowledge.
Proven Knowledge.
Yes, sorry.
And I think you said in 10 years, you would like to be where Selena was going to be?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That just shows how much she's going to inspire you.
Yeah, surprisingly, yeah, I would say so. And I didn't realize it until people started telling me. They're like, "Do you realize that you literally kind of do something similar things to her?" And I'm like, "No, actually, I did not realize that." Yeah, but yeah, no, that is my what I see myself becoming or what I'll end up doing in the future. Yeah.
She got the red lips. Red lips are popping right now. I got the red lips. You got
Yes.
the red lips.
I'll
Red
get them
lips-
later.
you- Hey now, no judgment. I would love to see it.
Do your thing. Do
I would
your
love
thing.
to see it. No, but it's like the red lips are popping right now. Ladies get involved and some gentlemen. Anyways, so, I want to know what made you take an interest in R&B music and what R&B musician inspired you.
So R&B music is the genre I feel like it just speaks emotion, like automatically, right? And one of the artists that have inspired me, I would say, for right now, is No Allegra.
Okay.
As well, she's amazing. And then as in like old school R&B, like if you want to talk about like Aaliyah or any of the other, women that were in that category, or like Toni Braxton's my favorite.
Oh yeah, nice.
I can listen to her all day. I just love like the emotion in like the music, like the way that the artist is just expressing themselves. Like it just, you may not be feeling sad in the moment, and you be like, wow, damn, like I feel what they're talking about, but I never been through that before, So yeah, that's pretty much why I got into R&B. Yeah.
So I know there's Tank. He's an R&B singer.
Oh, he's awesome.
I love Tank.
He's amazing.
He has this thing where they're trying to like keep R&B alive. So there's a debate whether some people think R&B is dead or R&B is still alive. What do you think?
Honestly, I think, and it's funny that you're like talking about this now, because I actually was talking to a friend of mine about this, who's an R&B soul artist, and I honestly think it's still alive. I just think that people are doing it differently now.
Yeah.
It's not the R&B that we knew from like the 90s, early 2000s. R&B now is very different.
Yeah.
And I see why people now are trying to bring it back, because the R&B back then in the past was very rich. It was very, like I said, very emotional. It had so much depth to it compared to R&B now. Like when we talk about the R&B now, which is like Giveon,
I was gonna bring that up.
Division. I think maybe Khaled is in that division, in that genre.
Yeah.
But and they're all amazing artists. Like I personally love Giveon. I love his voice. I love Division. But the way that they do R&B, it's very different, and even the females too. So with like what you just mentioned, I feel like it is alive. It's just really just being done differently, which is okay. But at the same time, it's always nice to bring back the old.
Yeah.
And put it in, mix it in with the new.
Love. I am a lover girl. Anyways, I want to hear like love songs. Like I miss love songs. Like when you hear it, you're like, damn.
Like Keith Sweat?
Not like, Keith Sweat was begging. Sorry, Keith Sweat, but you were begging, homie. He was more begging. I love Keith Sweat, but he was begging a lot. I mean, just like when you just good love songs. Like when you hear it, you're like,
I agree. I agree.
Like I want to walk down the aisle to that song. Like
I agree.
And we gotta retire R. Kelly. So.
Okay, we're done. Mr. On to the next question, sir.
But speaking of that though, because in your interview you were saying that you kind of don't like some of the messages that some of the R&B singers were kind of giving off.
I don't.
Like situationships.
I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't. And I'm sorry. But this is the thing. I understand why they're singing about it, because people can relate to it, right? And how relationships are nowadays with this generation. I'm sorry to say, but people don't respect their relationships. People think it's okay if they're in a situationship, which it isn't. Because at the end of the day, why would you want to be with someone and keep thinking to yourself, what are we? And y'all are literally acting like a couple. Like, that makes no sense to me. I don't know who created that math.
Who created that?
I don't know who thought about it, but it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And it's like nowadays, some people glorify that, or glorify like toxic relationships.
Yeah. There's a lot of that going on. I'm not going to mention no rapper and his girlfriend's name, but there's a lot of that going on.
Love it. Keeps me entertained on social media.
There's a lot of that going on.
But it's stuff that obviously is not good for us, especially like if you spiritual wise, it's not good for your soul. So I feel like Giveon, for example, he talks about his songs are about that, like about being in a situationship, or about having feelings for someone that's with someone else. But the thought of chasing after someone that has someone else is just thrilling. When that shouldn't be the case, because love, that's not love. Yeah. Love is supposed to be kind. Love is supposed to be healthy. Love is supposed to be something that brings one another together.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, in a spiritual aspect.
Right.
That's how I kind of look at it as. You know, I don't know if others probably don't look at it that way, but that's how I look at it
It
as.
shouldn't be a sport like
It's-
hunting. I'm
Exactly.
hunting. You
It
know what I
shouldn't
mean?
be a sport. It's supposed to be free flowing.
Right.
But isn't it supposed to be a sport for men? Aren't men supposed to be like the suitors? They're supposed to go wow the woman. It's
think
kind of like
so.
it's supposed to be
I
a
think
sport
so.
for women. I mean, for men.
I can kind of see what you're saying.
You know what I
like
mean? They're the one that have to go talk to you. They're competing with that other guy. You know what I mean? It's a sport. So it's a sport.
Yeah,
I
I
can
get
see
it.
that aspect of it. Like I am super like traditional, and I do like, you know, hopefully nice looking young guy.
Shoot your shot.
You already know who I'm going to shoot my shot at. We're not going to go there, but I do love like a man to ask me out.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
agree.
comes
Me
like,
too.
Hey, you know, to
Me
ask
too.
me out on a date, or you know, give me a nice compliment. I do love that aspect
Yeah.
of the male female back and forth. I love that.
Yeah, me too. I would say, yeah.
And don't a lot of women glorify like, and I don't know if you guys have in the past, but it's like if you ain't doing your job, then some other guy's gonna do it for you.
What's the next
You know
thing
what I mean?
happening?
Oh,
What's
you know
the
what I mean?
next
That's just damn, that's my impression.
I'm gonna message you all this episode. I'm just letting you know that. But so what was the question?
No, I
What the
mean,
next-
have you guys ever did that? Like, you know, glorify like, well, if you're not gonna do it, I know somebody else will. But isn't that kind of like what that person's talking about when he's chasing that other girl?
I would say in the aspect of if you're not treating me good, someone else will do it.
Yeah.
I probably said that before
And
to
that's
one
what
of
that
my
guy's talking
exes.
about, though, right?
It doesn't bother me. Like I'm the type of person like I don't. Like I know what I bring to the table, and I know what I'm worth,
Exactly.
and I do a lot of dope shit, and I say that all the time.
Exactly.
And like, if you can rock with me, then you can rock with me. If you can't rock with me, then you probably need to be with somebody else.
Exactly.
Because I will
Like I'm
steamroll
not
over
your
your
person.
ass.
I would say when it comes to relationships, I'm very traditional in the aspect. Like, yeah, I love when a man offers to take me out on a date. I don't want you messaging me talking about what are you doing today. Like, I'd rather you, if you're interested in me, you know, not to be straight up, and I don't want people to get it twisted. You know, I'm very sweet and very kind. You know, you can even ask Mose. But I'm the type of girl that, I know what I can offer to the table, and I know the type of woman that I am. So why not treat me nice, you know? And I wouldn't mind taking out a guy on a date either. Some girls actually don't agree with that, but I actually don't mind doing that. You know, I even offered, like, doing that with guys in the past or even guy friends, like, oh, let me take you out. And they're like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, but why not? Like, if you did the same for me, so why wouldn't I do it with you? I don't mind it.
Yeah, I just think the waiter would just look at me weird if, you know, she's paying.
Nah, I don't think so.
I'm just fine.
I don't. If you had on red lipstick, no. But no.
That is true.
But no. Sometimes
Yeah.
no. Nowadays it's the norm. No, it's the norm where you know the check comes and you'll see like the woman say, "I'll get it," and
That's
the guy will be like, "No, I'll get it." So the waiters are just like, "Yo, give me my tip." Like
Exactly.
figure it out.
That's all
I
they
just
care
want my
about.
Tip, homie.
That's
what
all
the
they
waiters
care
think.
about.
Yeah.
And so you like it. You said not what are you doing today, but it was like you just want them to say, "Hey, we're going out today."
Like, just be straight up, like what your intentions are or like what you want to do. Like, you don't have to like just be yourself. That's the thing. There's some guys who want to talk to me who I just sense they're not being themselves, and I'm like, you're talking to a whole nother human being. You know, like, just be yourself. If you're interested in me, all you have to do is be like, hey, like this and that. Can I take you out someday? Can I take you out this weekend? It's that simple. Some guys and girls do it sometimes too, are just so extra about certain things, and you just be yourself.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is when it comes to like relationships, the dating. Like, you just have to be yourself. There's no need to be someone else. And of course, sometimes we tend to be someone else because we're trying to impress
That's
the
so
other
funny.
person.
I was having a conversation with someone on the phone today about that, and I was saying how like sometimes people put on different uniforms to try to impress you. Like if someone knows you're a spiritual person, they'll play the spiritual person.
Oh,
If someone
yeah.
knows that you're like, I don't know, a drinker, they'll play the drinker just to try to get in with you. But then 6 months in, you're like, they'll say something or do something, and you're like,
Oh yeah, the real them
the
comes
real
out.
look, and you're like, oh, you're not really.
Yeah,
Oh, you did that to try to impress me, and sometimes
that was a free trial.
yeah, but you know what? I see this is gonna be fun tonight. So but you see, like, but what
I like
happens
that.
is
I like that. Free
by
trial.
the time you figure that out, sometimes you're so deep in with them already. Like sometimes you can be deep, and so when the mask comes off, you're already like, well, damn, I'm already kind of in love with you, or I really kind of have these.
And that is why you take your time getting to know a person before automatically rushing into being in a relationship with them.
Okay. Does
And
that mean like you hold out on them, like with vagina? You know what I mean?
I mean, honestly, I would say yeah. If you're getting to know them and you're actually getting to know who they are as a person, yeah, you should let that wait.
I would
6
say,
months?
I would say hold out on, or I would say hold out on. Yeah, sometimes it does. It's that.
But it can be hard if there's a strong sexual chemistry.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be some chemistry, but like what I think is for me, it's like I'm not really letting you into my circle. Sometimes because sometimes like when people want to meet your friends and your family too quick, that's a red flag too.
That is a red flag. That is a red flag.
Shouldn't they meet your friends so your friends can give you a non-biased opinion?
That's what I was gonna say. The friend thing. Okay, so in my opinion, for example, one time I went on a date with this guy, and on our first date together,
McDonald's.
No.
Okay,
No.
I'm done with these.
Hell no. On the first date, I met all his friends.
Okay.
Because they ended up showing up to where we were on the date. And where he took me was one of his closest friends, restaurant.
Oh, nice.
Which was super nice. But his friends all of a sudden showed up.
Oh,
and they also were trying to talk to me.
He said that.
Oh,
and
really?
it was like, and he was getting mad. And I was just like, I wasn't expecting to meet all your friends on this date, but they seemed cool.
Yeah.
And, and after that, we actually became, like, very close friends. So it was okay.
But you friend zoned him.
But, yeah, I did. But that was because I just felt like we were better off as friends.
Okay.
But I just feel like, naturally speaking, for me personally, if I go on a date with you, like, let's say tonight, and we really like each other, we're talking to each other, I probably won't introduce you to my friends after maybe a month or two knowing each other.
Yeah.
And if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
Like casually. Like if we end up going out together and my best friend is also gonna be there, okay, so what?
Yeah.
But very quickly to the point of like you introduce me to your friends after like 1 week.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to rush those things.
Yeah.
The same with family.
That is true.
You don't have to rush that.
When people rush, that's a red flag for
So what's like rushing? Like after, you said like a month or two. I mean, for family, probably like what?
I would say like probably within a month. That's rushing.
Yeah.
Family is like a big thing though. If you're introducing me to your family after like weeks of knowing each other, that's
a red flag.
That's
That's
weird.
a red flag. So now I want to know. I'm gonna get back on the music with you. I want to know what was it like performing at the Strand Theater. Was it for the Blood? What was the name of the show?
The Blood in Fashion.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you, guy in the corner.
That experience was actually very great. Like I actually felt very grateful to be able to perform at the Strand Theater. That theater is very obviously, as you know,
nice.
very historical, very nice. And I felt very alive, to be honest. Like I felt like I had an epiphany that night of just seeing like how my career is gonna turn out just when I was performing there. And I felt very good.
So how many people showed up? You had a guesstimate.
There was a good amount, maybe like more than 200, 300. I'm not really sure. Yeah, it was a good amount of people that showed up, honestly. Yeah, but it was a great event. It was a great turnout. I mean, there was some hiccups here and there, but I mean, I felt it was very nice. And the cast members, they're very artistic themselves, very creative. Like I really enjoy like being around people who are very,
creative
artistic and creative.
Yeah.
And it's nice.
Yeah, me
it's,
too. I love being in a creative environment. I love, I don't know. I just love being around like other artists that I know are like real artists.
Yeah, because an artist, if you think about it, music is a frequency, right? So artists are like supposed to be in a way at a higher frequency.
Yeah.
Compared to other people.
That's true.
So the way they come across to others is kind of different compared to other people, so
no, I agree.
I agree with that. I think like a lot of artists are subjected to like a lot of emotions like differently than other people.
Exactly, they feel deep. Their emotions are felt very deeply.
I be emotional as hell, man.
Which this is actually a reoccurring question on this like podcast. Should artists date other artists?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm loving this question. This is a great one. Okay, question man. This is a good one.
Yeah,
you want to answer?
Oh, answer.
And then I'll answer.
Okay.
All right.
Should other artists date other artists? This is what I think. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Okay.
Because you guys understand each other, right? But where the problem comes is depending where y'all are at your music career. Like if you're if you're an artist that's taking it seriously, like I'm taking it seriously, you're taking it seriously, right? So there's gonna be certain points where like if your career takes off and the other person's doesn't, the other person may feel a certain way, and you probably won't be able to see each other as much.
Yeah.
Or it could be both. Y'all's careers take off and y'all can't see each other that much, or things happen to where like someone's sliding into the other person's DMs talking about, oh, I want to do something with you, or you make me feel, crazy, or like, because I listen to music all the time, like stuff like that can happen, right? And that can kind of cause issues depending on the people.
Right.
But I really don't think it's such a bad idea because, like I said, y'all will understand each other. Y'all can even work together musically if you wanted to. And it depends too. Like it could be in the case where like, okay, like maybe the other person is an artist as well, but maybe they're just doing it like they're on a different path than you, and the other person is thinking about like going to like high levels with it, like being in Hollywood or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And that could be something to where y'all can really like support each other, y'all can really push each other, right? But me personally, I feel like I would kind of rather, and I can't control this, right? But I feel like sometimes I'd rather be with someone. I don't mind being with someone that's in the music scene or the music industry, but I'd rather you probably like do something else than like doing music. Maybe like you're a producer or you're a lawyer for like artists or something different. I don't know. And because I just feel like I always like to be with people that do something different other than myself. So
So now this is a good one because I've dated a DJ, very well-known DJ, and
I feel like DJs are good with like their hands.
I'm not even gonna get into that, but I did. He's pretty up there, and he was dope. We had it because he was into hip hop. And then I dated a couple of artists in different apps. Oh, then I dated someone that used to go on tour with this really famous neo soul artist, and that relationship was cool. But then it was kind of like, you would hear like little things, and like I would be like in the audience, and I would hear like women making little comments and saying stuff, and then you kind of gotta be like, oh well, this is what I signed up for, like.
Exactly. I'd never really had the experience of actually dating an artist, like actually being in a serious relationship with an artist. I've only had the experience of probably just talking to someone who was an artist, getting to know them, but it didn't lead anywhere. But so I don't know. That's why I don't mind dating someone that is a non-artist, but there were certain cases where I felt like, okay, maybe I should, because they'll understand certain things that this person doesn't understand.
Yeah.
Like I had an ex, he didn't understand why sometimes I would stay up late at night working on music. He sometimes would be like, yo, you're messing up my sleeping schedule. And I'm like, well, this is a time where I get so many ideas, and I'm thinking about so much, and and it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think majority of my the exes that I have who were non-artists, they understood like my goals, my dream. They understood how music was important to me. They supported me in every way. And I think that's like what you obviously need if you're dating someone who's a non-artist or an artist, that they support you in every single way. And they also understand like what can happen, how people will flirt with you, how, like stuff like that can always occur, and to not let it affect your relationship.
Yeah. My boy Marco, cool bass player from Boston. He was he said a response. He was like, artists are emotional people, so they kind of need someone who's not on that emotional journey as like a partner. And that made sense.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, if you're with someone else that's too emotional like you, that can be kind of like there has to be a balance. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Opposites attract.
So now I want to know, have you experienced, this is going on a whole nother subject, but I know we were talking about this a little bit off camera. So have you ever experienced like colorism in your community, and do you find it hurtful? Or is it something that you even pay attention to? Do you know what I mean?
Colorism, I do pay attention to it in my community. Have I experienced it to the point where like it was disheartening or just very stressful? Not really. But of course, like I would hear like the discussions of light skin versus dark skin and why a light skin Latina woman has more privilege over a dark skinned Latina woman, or even in the black community too. But specifically in the Latino community, not really. But my father, who is Cuban, and he's, you know, a bit darker than me, he himself has told me how he's experienced colorism where he came from.
For being darker skinned?
Yes.
What do they call them? Morenos?
Moreno, yeah. Moreno. He would tell me how, like, when he was in Cuba, how he experienced it even with, like, his own side of the family on his dad's side, who were much lighter, who were light-skinned, and how they would, like, make certain comments or say, like, oh, negrito, or, like, stuff like that. And even he told me, too, that he experienced a little bit, too, when he came to this country as well, too. So that's kind of where I started becoming aware of colorism. And then as I got older, I started becoming more aware of it when I was seeing it in other communities, not just in my own. You know, and also recognizing the privilege of, like, being a Latina. If you're a white Latina, we'll say, you have a kind of more of a privilege compared to a Latina that myself. Like, I feel like for me, I am light skinned, but I'm definitely mixed.
Are you Afro-Latina or are you just
I
Latina?
do recognize that I'm Afro-Latina.
Okay.
I do recognize that. I just don't really use that term all the time because, like I said, I'd rather just keep it simple, be a human, keep it simple, be like, I'm Latina. You know, it doesn't really matter. Like, I remember when I went to Cuba years ago, I had this conversation with my uncles because I remember I forgot how it came about, but I remember I told them, I was like, you know, in the U.S., we always kind of like put terms on certain things and titles. And for Latinos, we have these terms called Afro-Latina or Afro-Latino or Afro-Cuban or Afro-Honduran. And they're like, what's the point? You're Honduran, you're Honduran. You're Cuban, you're Cuban. You don't really have to put an Afro before it. But I understand why people do it, because people want to express the fact that they have African descent in them. But at the same time, it doesn't matter.
Listen, I'm tired. It's played out. I'm sorry, everybody who wants to debate about light skin, dark. I'm like, yo, I think we have, like, life is bigger than light skin, dark skin, Afro Latina, Afro this, Afro that. I'm blacker than a motherfucker, and I'm glad, and I don't care. You can be light, you can be dark, you can be Afro, you can be whatever.
Yeah, no,
you know?
and I totally agree with that. And that was the whole point, the whole conversation me and my uncles were having. It's like, it just doesn't really matter.
Wasting
What
time.
matters is just you acknowledging where you come from or where your family comes from. And that was the one thing that my father always put in my head, of being proud of where you come from, you know,
keep it moving.
and recognizing the fact, and recognizing the fact too that, like, no one that lives in this country is 100% American. The only people that are 100% American are the Native Americans that were taken advantage of. That's it.
But other than that, it's like, come on, we're wasting time. Like, the last question in your mind is going to be, did I rock this?
Yeah, exactly.
And then lights out.
Exactly.
That's all.
Yeah, I agree.
It's true. Oh God, everybody got so serious. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Sometimes I think the conversation does matter for representation reasons, for like in media.
But
it's too much. Sometimes it's like it's too much.
Does your family make sancocho?
Sancocho.
That's my food. What's this?
I would date a grandma. I would date a Dominican grandma if she made sancocho.
They do. Both of my parents. It's mostly Dominican food, but my dad knows how to cook it. But yeah, they do it. It's my favorite thing, especially in the winter time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
On that note, we're gonna take a quick break and be right back.
Okay.
Dear Yelena, I know you must be confused and angry right now. I'm sorry. I know I asked you to meet me here today, and I left you a gift as a way to tell you that I truly want you back. And I'm sorry for the back and forth. Please give me a chance. We'll talk soon. Love, Anthony. preguntas de mí. Siempre piensas en el pasado. Tú quieres saber si todavía me tienes sus manos. Recuerdas mi voz. Extrañas mi piel. Nunca vas a olvidarme. Vas a seguir destruyéndome. Quieres que yo vuelva contigo para seguir esa rumba. No más, no puedo con usted. No más. Para seguir esa rumba. Esa rumba. Tú, una obsesión fatal. Quería llevarme hasta el infierno. Qué dolor. Yo fui tu luz, tú mi oscuridad, maldita oscuridad. Nunca vas a olvidarme, vas a seguir destruyéndome. Quieres que yo vuelva contigo para seguir esa rumba. No más puedo con usted. No más puedo para seguir esa rumba. Esa rumba ya se acaba. Para seguir esa rumba. Para seguir. No puedo seguir con esa rumba. No más. Tú eres el diablo de mi vida. No más. Adiós.
After dark, we're back.
We're back. And Shane's on the mic over there. Producer, what's up?
That's true. I was actually listening to that podcast that your last interview.
Proven
again.
Knowledge.
Proven Knowledge, and it said that you had an EP. Did that come out yet?
It has not come out yet. It's in the works.
And it was like
So,
going to be
yeah.
4 to 5 songs.
Yes. That's the plan.
And you said the themes in that song was going to deal with like kind of past relationships.
Yeah.
Is it mental health as well?
Mental health, most likely not. A lot of it's going to be talking about love.
Love.
Yeah.
Were you talking about? Did you say that you were going to put in kind of like themes like manipulation,
Toxicity.
toxicity?
Yep.
Is like gaslighting part of that?
Yes, definitely.
Where did you get the gaslighting from? Like, what did gaslighting?
Well, gaslighting.
Narcissism happening?
No. Well, you said in Roomba, that was kind of like, that was one of
The concept of
one
it.
of the concepts. It was like somebody had ghosted you when you came into a restaurant.
Well, the music
that's the music
video.
videos,
That
right?
was the music video, but the concept about the song is pretty much about how you were dealing with someone who you were in love with, and they did you wrong, and then they decided to come back and try to pull you, like, reel you back in.
Like when you posted like a sexy Instagram picture and they just start DMing you.
Oh my god.
Something like
Here we
that.
go. This guy with this freaking Instagram things. Anyway.
But gaslighting, going back to gaslighting, do you know the concept of gaslighting is
to
when
make you seem like you're crazy.
exactly.
Yes.
And you can gaslight yourself. That's another thing that people don't realize.
How do you do that?
Like questioning yourself, you know, like just like how
Was I really in the
someone,
wrong?
yeah,
No.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like questioning your actions, and like, you know, so that's a whole nother thing too.
And did you have a lot of experience with those kind of things happening too?
I did, unfortunately. Yeah, I did. There was a person that I met years ago. This was like post pandemic. So 2020 we were talking about. And this was someone who, to this day, I really do care about them. I really do love them, but it's just unfortunately when you meet someone who is, I don't want to use the word toxic, but I'm gonna just say this: someone who's just not, their soul is just not right. I'm gonna use that. Their soul is just not right, and there's a lot of trauma within them that is not healed.
Yeah.
And me as a person, I recognize that I'm an empath, which means that I can feel people's energy. It affects me. If you have positive energy, I'm going to feel that. If you have negative energy, I'm going to feel that. And negative energy really affected me. And that's something where I'm trying to heal from right now and trying to learn how to protect my energy, you know? And this person, they were someone that had negative energy around them. And for that reason, you know, the way I am as a person, I really care about people a lot. I really like to help people, even when I shouldn't, even when I'm not in the place to help you, but I still will. And and they were someone that I truly, you know, wanted to help them with whatever they were dealing with, but obviously they weren't helping me.
Yeah.
And then that's when the manipulation came in. That's where the gaslighting came in. I started, you know, due to that person, I ended up, you know, being in a state of mind where I was doubting myself a lot. I was questioning myself a lot.
I don't like you, guy. Whoever you are out there who did this to her, I don't like you. But anyways,
No, it's okay. I mean, they eventually will, you know, they're in a position right now where they'll probably, or later on, they'll end up learning and realizing these things. So I don't want to speak too badly about them, but yeah, they, you know, I was in a position where like I was going downhill, and I was already dealing with my own stuff.
Yeah.
And then realizing that I ended up, you know, falling in love with this person, caring about them, and it was a lot. It was a lot of back and forth, and that's something where that experience, it took a lot out of me.
Yeah.
It kind of made me realize a lot of things. And a lot of things were kind of like not falling into place at that time. And a lot of things were happening with friends too. And it was a whole mess, but it was an experience that had to happen.
Yeah.
And I learned from it. And right now I'm healing from it, and also other stuff too. And I'm grateful for it, you know, in a sense. Like it sounds weird to say,
Yeah.
because no one should be in a position where they're feeling manipulated by someone, or they're feeling like, you know, someone's questioning their worth or doubting themselves, because you should never, you know, you should never feel that way.
But isn't
you know,
it funny how like if you're like a person who has like a dope personality, and you are just like nurturing, and you know, a people person, and you're like I want to say a light, right?
Yeah.
It's funny how like people do that to you. They'll manipulate you, and they'll do all these horrible things to you.
Yeah.
Yo, I still got people trying to come back into my life, either as friends or whatever, that just still want to be around. Because like, yo, Cordelia was dope. Like she was actually pretty dope. Like when you meet someone who's real, it's rare. And people miss that connection. And I still have people that like that still, like from years ago, that want to reach back out right now and try to be friends. And I'm like, yo, we have nothing in common anymore. Like we wouldn't even speak the same language.
Like,
Move
things
on with your
changed.
life. Just go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there would be no connection. But you have to go through these toxic friendships. Sometimes, as bad as that may sound, you have to go through these toxic relationships. But the cool part about that is, and there is a cool part because I do like to find a positive. The cool part about that is, like, once you weed out all the snakes, you start to blossom.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, all this time I was hanging out all these toxic people in toxic relationships. And then once I got rid of them, you know, I started writing books. I started singing. I started doing this. And it's like, oh, you all were you were the snakes.
Yeah.
So now, you know, you learn how to, you know, weed people out and weed situations out faster. I think that's what comes out of going through things.
Yeah, I would say so too, because I feel like for me, I'm in a place right now where I solely just want to create a relationship with myself, and I just want to heal from everything that I dealt with, and even stuff that I dealt with as a kid, right? That I realized that I definitely ended up getting trauma from it. And that's why the person that I was speaking of, I most likely encounter them because they reminded me of the stuff that I dealt with as a child.
Okay.
And that's how the whole bond came about and stuff like that. And trauma bonds, soul ties are very real, you know? And if you want to talk about karmic flames, that's a whole nother thing, but we're not going to get into it.
Okay.
It's okay. We're not going to get into it.
It's
later. Very spiritual.
Look at Instagram pictures.
But yeah.
That makes sense because I was looking at your
Instagram.
I was looking at your Twitter. You do a lot of retweeting, but you were retweeting books like The Subtle Art to Not Giving a Fuck, and those are things that you. So what's a good mental health routine for someone to do if they're trying to heal, or what's something that you do now that you do to like heal? I think one thing you said was like learning how to say no.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is learning how not to be a people's pleaser.
Yeah.
So one thing is, and this is kind of spiritual stuff, but when I started my spiritual journey, 2 years ago, I started to learn all about divine feminine and divine masculine and all that kind of stuff. And what divine feminine means is just, for me, is just pretty much recognizing the power that is within you, right? Recognizing the power that you have within yourself and learning how to say no to certain things, creating boundaries with people, whether it's platonic or romantic relationships, and also knowing how to treat yourself as a person, right? And so for me right now, where I am when it comes to what do I do in this period that I'm healing myself, every single day I try my best to meditate as much as I can, 5 to 10 minutes, because I tend to overwhelm myself a lot. I stress out a lot, and I'm doing a lot right now in this time. And I've always been a busy person, and I know my life is going to get very busy as life continues on.
Yeah.
And I try to do that. I pray to God, for those who may not believe in him or do, I talk to God. I pray to him. I also, talk to myself in a sense of I ask myself, how are we feeling today? Are we feeling good? What are we feeling emotional? Why are we feeling emotional? I also, right now, I'm working on trying to journal more my feelings.
Nice.
Because I want to be able to try to put whatever I'm feeling or what I dealt with, especially now what I'm dealing with, in my music.
Yeah.
You should.
Because sometimes I have a hard time expressing, what I dealt with or how to, or I have a hard time putting it into my music, so hopefully that answers your question. But
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah.
So now your music video, I watched your music video. You have a beautiful voice. I was like,
Oh,
okay,
thank
go ahead,
you.
Yelena. But so now I like the concept at the end where you sitting at the dinner table, and then the old you walked away, and then there was like the new you, that was in mourning. I don't know how to say it. People have to watch the video. What was the name of the song?
Roomba,
and it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it is.
But I like the concept of the music video.
Thank
I thought
you.
the end was really cool. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you.
So now, where do you see your music going? Are you working on any more new music, or?
Yeah, right now I'm currently working on one single right now that I should be releasing soon, and I'm as well as still working on my EP, which, fingers crossed, I'm hoping to release it, next year, come February, March, around that time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So now, do you have any new crushes, or are you in a new relationship right now?
No, I'm not in a relationship with anyone right now. I don't have anyone, and right now I solely just want to have a relationship with myself.
Okay.
Let me see some of these retweets that you had.
Oh, here we go. He's going for
Actually,
the Twitter.
This is my favorite one. It's the one with 2 buttons, and it says you have to choose one, and it says a healthy, loving relationship, nasty, disrespectful sex. And it does this, and it chooses both buttons.
Oh my goodness, I'm done. This guy is Twitter.
Okay?
But also, one thing you said also too was psychology hack for overthinkers. You would consider yourself an overthinker?
Yes, I'm 100% an overthinker.
I overthink too.
I think to the point where I wish I could tell my mind to just shut off.
To shut up, yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah, I'm constantly thinking
so
too,
bad.
okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta go here, I gotta do that. Because I constantly like to just keep moving and networking, and I do 50 million things, so my mind is constantly okay, I gotta do this, I gotta work on this, I gotta do that, and this is happening over here, and I gotta go over there. So yeah, overthinking is it's a good thing too at the same time, depending on what you're overthinking about, you know.
And doesn't that kind of react badly when you're when you were like an empath as well? Because you're kind of taking those emotions and they're heightened, and you're like, well, what is this person thinking about? And like, he hasn't hit me up, and like, you could be overthinking that situation.
Exactly,
possibly.
yeah. And that's one thing that I'm trying to teach myself is learning how to control the thoughts and learning how to control the negative thoughts, like pushing those away.
Yeah.
Because that can interfere with like so many other things, you know. And you don't want to. You obviously don't want to be thinking negative all the time, especially about things. Because then you could be you can be overthinking about a situation, and it's not even what it really is, you know. So yeah.
That makes sense.
So now, who would your dream collaboration be with anybody, dead or alive?
Dead or
Who would be
alive?
your dream collab?
Can I do both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dead and alive.
So dead, definitely Selena for sure.
Had to be.
Alive. Oh, this is a hard one. Alive. Giveon.
Giveon?
Yeah.
But you want to have a stern conversation about those topics?
No. I'll let him do his thing.
What about what are some of your favorite collaborations that you've had so far? Even if it's with artists, maybe it's with a videographer, maybe it's with what type of anything?
My favorite collaborations that I've had so far. I mean, I haven't done too many like features when it comes to artists. I think the only two that I've done, for when I remember, has been with Ben the Superior. He's like a really well-known DJ in Boston, and also, does music. And then Skip to Dip. He's like a brother to me. Me and him worked on a song together called Caribeña that came out back in 2020. And
Skip to Dip.
Yeah.
I kind of make one and skip to dip. Okay.
Yeah, he's really cool. He's also a Latin artist as well.
Oh, nice.
More so urban Latin.
Okay.
But yeah, me and him, I really do appreciate him. He's giving me a lot of advice in regards to like, music and so many other stuff. So I really do appreciate him. So shout out to you, Skip. And then
I'm going to say it again. Skip to dip.
When I skip to dip, you dip.
You want to dip? I'm going to skip. And I'm going to dip. He's going to love that. Shout out to you, Skip.
And another person I would say is the videographer that I worked with Roomba on, Chris. He's super dope. He's very, he's a very talented videographer, great to work with. So, shout out to Chris. But yeah, and so many other people that I've met, like so many other artists that I've met, in Boston. I'm extremely grateful for them as well too. And yeah.
Well, you know who my dream collab is going to be with, or my dream job, or my dream whatever.
Yeah.
Nas.
Okay, I like him.
Shoot that shot every time.
I
always shoot my shot at Nas. It's a thing. It's a thing now. But shout out to Nas. But yeah. So now what's up? Now if you could bring anybody on to, say Show and Tell had a dream collab as far as like a guest, who would your dream guest or dream host or dream collab be?
Honestly, I really don't have any. I would just love to talk to a variety of people and just like get to know a bunch of people.
Okay. Nice.
And on that note, did you have anything else that you would like to say to the audience or?
Yeah, so I was recently nominated for Boston Music Awards for Latin Artist of the Year. I definitely want to say for those who are watching this, please, if I can have your vote, I would highly appreciate it. Please vote. There's a lot of artist platforms, especially like you guys were nominated, so that's amazing. So yeah, everyone please vote.
Vote.
Highly appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone's support as well.
Plug your stuff.
Yes, you can follow me on Yelena Arm Music. Everything's on there from my latest music to my newest. You can stay up to date on there, and just feel free to message me.
And you want to plug your thing?
And my name is Cordelia Moy. I'm Who's That Girl from Roxbury. You can find me on YouTube at my YouTube channel, Who's That Girl from Roxbury, and I'm on Twitter as Who Roxbury 1.
Yes. Show and Tell Boston After Dark. That's a wrap.
It's a wrap.